Two-toed have 2 on the front, three-toed have 3 on the front. Almost every sloth you see in the continental U.S. is going to be a two-toed Linnaeus sloth. Hoffman sloths are just far more rare. And three-fingered sloths are hard to keep in captivity because they eat almost exclusively Sarcopia leaves. And there are no groves of Sarcopia trees in the continent. Look at that yawn. Let's see if I can be quick. I'm going to keep the camera in my hand in case he yawns again because it's super cute when he does. So you have a hold of your necklace or your neckline?
I think it's just my shirt.
Okay, I just don't want to break your necklace.
Yeah, it's just my shirt.
Okay. They do have ears. He doesn't mind. You're welcome to touch his ears. Like an 80s rock star, you wouldn't know he had ears unless you felt for him. Mm-hmm. Proportional to his head, his ears are as big as our ears are. Their primary senses are smell and hearing. So their vision is horrible. Their sense of smell and their sense of hearing are very, very good. So he is wide awake, but he's like closing his eyes and he's just experiencing his world and experiencing you by smell and by hearing. And he is just a chill little dude. He loves to snuggle. This guy would sit on your lap for 10 hours a day if you would let him. So where'd you come from today?
Lafayette, Georgia.
Say what?
Lafayette, Georgia.
It's like there's a commercial that's on the radio here all the time for some car dealer in Lafayette. What's that guy's name that's on the radio all the time?
I know what you're talking about. I don't know what his name is.
Take the short drive down to Lafayette, where we're gonna see you in a Kia.
Oh, yeah. I don't know what his name is. I know where it is.
Yeah.
It's like an hour and 15 minutes from here.
That's not bad. Is it a special occasion today?
No, I'm just on spring break.
Nice. Up here, our spring break was last week and the week before. This week we're getting a bunch of people from Kentucky, because it seems like Kentucky's all on spring break, and some people from Georgia. And then of course our normal bunch of travel from all over the world, but we get more travelers than we get locals. It's kind of weird. Like currently on the farm there's people here from 3 different countries right now.
Oh my gosh, what countries?
People in the glamps are from Belgium. The people that had a sloth encounter yesterday on the farm tour today are from Spain, and there was a guy from France.
Oh wow.
This is your phone, I'm not weirdly taking pictures of you.
Oh no.
Just waiting for him to yawn again. Super cute when he does, because he sticks his tongue way, way out usually when he yawns. And it's pretty cute.
He has some leftovers on his mouth.
Has he? I kind of wonder what their tactile senses are like, because in the wild, a sloth has 100 to 150 moths living in their fur all of the time. And I just can't get my head around being crawling with bugs always and not just be like having the heebie-jeebies.
Yeah.
So it almost seems like they would not have very much sense of feel on their skin, but it's quite good. And he doesn't mind. You can pet him everywhere. The older ones only like to be touched on the back. That guy, if you've never felt a sloth or monkey's feet, feel his foot on this side of you right here. And like stroke his paw side of his foot, like the skin side. And like just take his foot loose and feel his foot.
Oh.
That's exactly what a monkey's feet feel like.
It's weird.
Yeah, it's kind of leathery, but like with a little bit of grip to it.
Yeah.
Like a really, really soft leather.
Yeah.
So their hand is like a big pair of slip joint pliers. So they've got the leather that comes like way down to here, longer than their claws go. So then as they grab onto a branch, like this leathery part is sticky onto the wood, and then their claw like clamps in like that. So a sloth can climb a very wide variety of diameters of trees, and of course he's tiny, so he doesn't have much claws. So there's not a lot of trees that he can climb. But like the big guy in the next room right there, he can grip a branch anywhere between about my thumb and my thigh, one-handed, and climb them like that, because the leathery part will sort of stick to the wood, and then his claw kind of digs it. And if it's bigger than about like mid-thigh on me, then he'll lumberjack up it. But he moves quicker than what I thought a sloth could move. Of course, I guess when they say 12 feet per minute, they're probably talking speed over distance. Like, if they're gonna walk for half a mile, they're only gonna go but so fast. But like his room right there next to you is 25 feet high, and he can go, when we open his door and say, "Hey, Flash," he comes right down from 25 feet up to out here in 30 seconds.
My goodness.
And yeah, so quicker than I ever thought a sloth could move before I had sloths. This guy though is just totally chill. He just loves to be held and snuggled and petted. Zoe, the 16 months old, we didn't really just rub the fur off or pet her all the time. I mean, my wife doesn't come down to the encounters because she's probably held that sloth for 3,000 hours or more. So if she's in this room, the sloth wants nothing at all except Donna. It's hard to get her to sit with anyone else. But Dash here, I sit and watch TV, and I like do his ears like this, and I do his feet like that, and I rub them all on every part of him, kind of desensitizing him to being touched all over the place. And he's starting to really, really enjoy being petted, even more than the others do. The others, Zoe likes to be held and snuggled on your lap, but she, take it or leave it on the petting. And Flash, take it or leave it on the petting, doesn't want to be held. And Dash, when we go to set him down, you'll see he's going to go, which means no, hold me. He won't want to be put back down. But the basket is just because we carry him back and forth to the house in a basket, because it's been too cold for him. Today, I'll probably just carry him around my neck. But over the last 2 months that he's been here, it's been too cold to take him outside, because it's a matter of their gut bacteria. A sloth has gut bacteria that help it digest its food. Now, we also have helpful gut bacteria. What would kill our gut bacteria is antibiotics. Take a lot of antibiotics. You need probiotics or Greek yogurt to fix your gut health back up. What kills a sloth's gut bacteria is cold temperature. So you can't ever let a sloth get cold. And in the wild, that's why they have all those moths on them, is when the sloth grooms himself, he licks up a certain amount of the weight of the moths themselves, and that's a small amount of protein for the sloth. And then he licks up a certain amount of the waste of the moths, and that is where the bacteria come from that digest the sloth's food. So, if we had to replace our gut bacteria, probiotics, Greek yogurt. If he has to replace his gut bacteria, it's the moths. And then the benefit to the moths, because it's a symbiosis, they both benefit. So the benefit to the moths is that the sloth is the food source and the living environment of the moths. So when the sloth comes down the tree, sloth only goes to the bathroom once in a week or 10 days. When it comes down the tree, it is going to eliminate 1/3 of its total body mass when it goes to the bathroom. Yeah, like that.
Oh my goodness.
So, they eat 10% of their body weight every day, and yet they only go to the bathroom once in 7 to 10 days. So when the sloth, so put it to human perspective, I weigh 180. So if I was going to eat 18 pounds of food, and 18 more pounds, and 18 more pounds, and 18 more pounds every day, they metabolize a very great deal of that, as in convert from food to energy, so there's nothing left. But when they do come down the tree, 1/3. So that's, for me, that's starting from 180 and just eating and eating and eating until I got to 240. and then coming down the tree, and in 2 minutes letting it rip and whoom, right back to 180. 60 for my weight, that would be 60 pounds of waste in 2 to 3 minutes.
Oh my goodness.
And so when they come down the tree to go to the bathroom, the moths jump off of the sloth down into the waste pile and they lay their eggs. And then they get back onto the sloth before they miss their ride back to the canopy of the rainforest. So then as they lay their eggs, this week's eggs are next week's larvae or the following week's moths. So every time that he comes down the tree, there are more moths. They're gonna fly up onto the sloth and live their entire life on the sloth.
It's crazy.
Intelligent design is what it's all about. And there are other benefits to both sides of that equation. So like for instance, a sloth has no natural scent. They don't have sweat glands, they don't have musk glands, they don't have any kind of glands like that. So there is no smell to a sloth, and that helps them to be camouflaged. And then all the moss and algae that grow in the sloth's fur, the moths are not only eating that, but they're fertilizing it with their waste. More moss, more algae, more disguise in more ways than one, because visually they're disguised because of the brown and green colors of all of the moss, but then scent wise they smell like the entire rest of the rainforest with all the moss and algae. So snakes hunt by primarily smell. That's why they throw their tongue out and then they stick their tongue in their nose, and so they're sampling the air and putting the scent into their nose. That's how they find their food. You can't smell a sloth. And then the other animals are hunting visually, and it's really hard to see a sloth because of all the moss and algae on a wild sloth. If you see a picture of them, they look like totally nasty creatures. But here, they don't need the moths or the moss or the algae, because here the protein they would get from the moths is replaced by 2 hard-boiled eggs a week, and the bacteria that replaces gut bacteria as he gets cold, he doesn't need, because we don't ever let a sloth get cold.
Mm-hmm.
So it's always 80 degrees in these spaces, 78 to 80. And the sloth, you know, there's a whole, with a wild sloth, there's a whole biosphere in their fur. But here, you know, we artificially replace all of those things. Super snuggly, right? Picture of his eyes open. Delete these on the drive home while the bad ones, right? Looks like we're on YouTube and TikTok today. Not many people on there though. About 30 people watching. Saturday morning there can be 10,000.
Oh my goodness. I never even knew.
Oh, you don't
I've
see
never
us on
seen it.
TikTok? Oh yeah, we in 2025 we've had more than 50 million views.
I might have. I don't think I have.
The other thing people really like to see on the lives here are the tiny, tiny white Scottish Highland cows. Have you seen those here?
No, I don't think so.
Oh, they're insanely cute. They, these are the tiny Scottish Highland cows.
Oh my goodness, they're adorable.
Yeah,
They're so cute.
those ones came from Ponderosa Ranch in Illinois. He basically has copyrighted cows, and he's been breeding them for 30 years. And you know, he never sells an intact male. If he sells males, they have to be sterile
Mm-hmm.
or neutered. And so if you want to get any more of those, you have to go back to him. So it's pretty clever. But, you know, he's got 30 years of effort into his bloodline, so,
Yeah.
you know, by all means, protect what you've worked on for 30 years.
Yeah.
But it does make those cows cost tens of thousands of dollars a piece.
Yeah.
But they are insanely cute. Those ones have been in the living room.
Really?
Yeah. And my Great Pyrenees are bigger than those cows. They're so little and cute, they look fake.
They're so fluffy.
Yeah. Reminds me of that little girl on Despicable Me. They're so fluffy. I don't know, you're pretty young. Was Despicable Me a thing during your lifetime? My kids range from 38 down to 20, so
Yeah.
I know all the old cartoons. I don't really know so much what's going on right
I
now.
love Despicable Me when I was a kid.
My favorite thing in the whole thing is when he says, "My turn," and he like blasts the whole,
Yeah.
she wants the unicorn.
It's so a lot of the new stuff is this one.
Two of our kangaroos are named Ruby and Max.
Really?
I know it's after a cartoon, and I know that Max
I love
chases Ruby around and gets in
Max.
trouble all the time.
Yeah, they were little.
But I've never seen it. Say what?
They were bunnies. I think or rabbits.
Are they bunnies?
I used to love that show.
I've heard the jingle, Max and Ruby,
Yeah.
Ruby and Max. And it's appropriate, because Max is a boy and Ruby's a girl, and Max is a troublemaker. He is always into something. Did you see the baby kangaroos when you walked in the door?
No, but I have the bottle feeding at like I don't remember what time it's at. I think it's at 2.
Oh, cool. Well, you'll see him then.
What am I supposed to do until then?
Hang around.
Okay. I didn't know if we could stay
Yeah.
and like sit in the car or something.
Yeah, it's fine.
Okay.
All of our guests have to be escorted, but as long as you're in this little area right here, that counts.
Oh.
There will be a turkey walking around where you are,
There
because
was
he
one
goes
out
wherever
there.
the people are, and his name is Thomas, and he wants to be petted.
Really?
Yeah. People think he's chasing them because he's mean. No, he just wants you to pet him.
My mom's dad had a turkey. She's talking about how mean he was, so she doesn't like turkeys because of that.
Those are real turkeys are mean,
Yeah.
but ours has been here 3 years, and he lives in a petting farm. So. So I could bore you with sloth facts for days, but I find that most people that are holding dash don't hear half of what I say anyway. Did you have any questions about sloths?
I don't think so.
No.
Well, I mean, I can think of.
You can raise him up and he'll hug right up around your neck. It makes a pretty cute picture.
Really?
Yeah.
I don't think he's gonna yawn again. He heard you say you wanted to yawn again.
Yeah, right. I think you may have actually fallen asleep. Does your mom do TikTok?
No,
She's
she doesn't
watching
have
us.
TikTok. My dad does, but my dad's at work.
What's your name? Addison. Addison's mom, are you watching us right now? There's hardly anybody on there, so I kind of doubt it. So I'm going to turn this off and let